The morning sun peeked through the clouds as Zoe Jenkins stood at the entrance of Westlake Academy. Her heart thumped against her chest like a drum. This was it. Her first day at a regular high school. She took a deep breath and squeezed the straps of her backpack. "You've got this," she whispered to herself. For years, Zoe had begged her parents to let her go to a normal school. Being the daughter of two huge Hollywood stars meant she'd always been treated differently. At her old private school, kids either wanted to be her friend because of who her parents were, or stayed away because they thought she was stuck up. Nobody ever saw just Zoe. "I'm just asking for 1 year," she had told her mom during breakfast, 3 months ago. "1 year where nobody knows who my parents are. 1 year where I can just be a regular kid." Her mom had looked at her dad across the kitchen counter with worry in her eyes. "Baby girl, you know how people can be," her mom had said, stirring her tea. "What if someone finds out? The newspapers, the photos." "Please," Zoe had begged. "I'll keep a low profile. No fancy clothes, no talking about home, nothing. I just want to make real friends." After weeks of back and forth, her parents finally agreed, but with some rules. No telling anyone about her family, no bringing friends home without checking first, and if anything went wrong, she'd go back to private school right away. Now, as Zoe walked through the main doors of Westlake Academy, she felt like an explorer stepping onto a new planet. Kids rushed past her, laughing and talking. Nobody looked at her twice. For the first time in her life, she was just another face in the crowd, and it felt amazing. She glanced down at her outfit, plain blue jeans, a simple gray sweater, and white sneakers. Her natural hair was styled in neat braids, something her mom had helped her with yesterday. Nothing about her screamed, "Celebrity kid," and that was exactly the point. "Excuse me, do you know where room 210 is?" Zoe asked a girl at a nearby locker. The girl looked up and smiled. She had bright eyes and a friendly face. "Yeah, it's upstairs, second floor. Turn right at the top of the stairs. I'm heading there too. First period English with Mr. Peterson, right?" Zoe nodded, relieved to have found someone nice right away. "I'm Amber," the girl said, closing her locker. "You must be new. I haven't seen you around before." "I'm Zoe. Just moved here from—" She paused, remembering her promise not to share too much from out of state. "Cool. Come on, I'll show you the way." As they walked, Amber pointed out important spots: the cafeteria, the gym, the principal's office. Zoe listened carefully, trying to remember it all. This was so different from her old school with its fancy marble hallways and uniformed staff. "And watch out for those stairs," Amber warned, pointing to a set of steps near the science labs. "They're super slippery when it rains. Last year, like 3 kids wiped out in 1 day." Zoe laughed, feeling herself relax a little. This was normal. This was what she wanted. When they reached their classroom, Amber introduced Zoe to her friend Dion, a tall boy with kind eyes and a quick smile. He scooted over so Zoe could sit with them. "Where'd you go before this?" Dion asked as they waited. "For the teacher." Zoe had practiced this answer. "A small private school. Nothing special, just not really my scene." "Well, Westlake is pretty chill," Dion said. "Except for—" His voice trailed off as the classroom door swung open. A girl walked in, and immediately the energy in the room changed. She was pretty in an obvious way. Perfect hair, expensive clothes, and the kind of confidence that came from always getting what you wanted. 3 other girls followed behind her like shadows, dressed almost the same way. "Who's that?" Zoe whispered. "Vanessa. Filler," Amber said under her breath. "Her grandpa basically built half this school. Her family donates enough money each year to make sure everyone knows it. She runs this place," Dion added, "and makes sure nobody forgets it." Zoe had seen girls like Vanessa before. At her old school, status came from who your parents were, what movies they starred in, what awards they had. Here, it seemed like Vanessa's power came from her family's money and history with the school. The teacher started taking attendance, and when he called Zoe Jenkins, her hand shot up quickly. She could feel someone watching her and turned slightly to see Vanessa studying her with narrowed eyes. Throughout the class, Zoe answered questions thoughtfully, but didn't try to show off. Mr. Peterson seemed impressed with her analysis of the reading they'd done. and a few students nodded along with her points. When the bell rang, Vanessa brushed past Zoe's desk, knocking her pencil case to the floor. Pens rolled everywhere. "Oops," Vanessa said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You should be more careful with your stuff, new girl." As Zoe bent down to pick up her things, both Amber and Dion helped her. "Ignore her," Amber said. "She does that to everyone she sees as competition." "Competition? For what?" Zoe asked, confused. Dion shrugged. "Attention, I guess. Vanessa doesn't like when people notice anyone but her." By lunchtime, Zoe had settled into a rhythm. The classes were interesting. The teachers seemed nice, and she'd already made 2 potential friends. As she sat with Amber, Dion, and some of their friends in the cafeteria, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Normal. "So Zoe," a boy named Luis asked as he bit into his sandwich, "why'd your family move here?" Zoe had this answer, ready too. "My mom got a new job opportunity. It was pretty sudden." "What does she do?" someone else asked. "She's in entertainment," Zoe said carefully. It wasn't a lie. Behind-the-scenes stuff. Nothing exciting. The conversation moved on, and Zoe relaxed again. This might actually work. She could have a whole year of just being a regular teenager. From across the cafeteria, though, Vanessa watched the new girl with growing interest. There was something about Zoe that seemed off. Her clothes were simple, but the fabric looked expensive. Her backpack was worn in a way that seemed deliberate, rather than from actual use. And the way she sometimes paused before answering questions about herself, like she was hiding something. "Find out everything you can about the new girl," Vanessa told one of her friends. "Where she came from, why she's here. Everything." "Why?" "She seems nice," her friend replied. "Nice is boring," Vanessa said, twirling her straw in her drink. "And nobody is that perfect unless they're covering something up." As the first day ended, Zoe walked out of school feeling happier than she had in ages. She had phone numbers from Amber and Dion, homework that actually seemed challenging, and for once not a single person had asked for her parents' autographs or tried to take sneaky photos of her. The black car waiting for her was parked a block away from school, just as she'd arranged. As she slid into the back seat, her driver looked at her in the rearview mirror. "Good day, Miss Jenkins?" Zoe couldn't stop her smile. "The best. Nobody knows who I am. I'm just Zoe." "Your mother called twice to check on you," he said, pulling away from the curb. "Of course she did," Zoe laughed, pulling out her phone to text her mom. What Zoe didn't notice was Vanessa Miller standing near the corner, watching as the expensive car with tinted windows drove away. "Interesting," Vanessa muttered to herself. "Very interesting." 3 weeks flew by faster than Zoe could have imagined. The nervous girl who had stood outside Westlake Academy on that first day was gone. In her place was someone who walked the hallways with quiet confidence, who raised her hand in class, without second-guessing herself, who had actual friends who liked her for who she was, not for who her parents were. "Yo, Zoe, wait up," Dion called, jogging to catch up with her after third period. His backpack bounced against his shoulder as he dodged around a group of freshmen blocking the hallway. Zoe smiled and stopped walking. "What's up? Did you hear? You got the highest score on Peterson's essay. The whole class is talking about it." Dion gave her a playful punch on the shoulder. "Brain power." Zoe laughed, but she felt her cheeks get warm. "It wasn't that big a deal. I just really connected with the book." "Not a big deal," she says. Dion mocked with a grin. "Peterson hasn't given anyone an A+ in like 2 years. Even Amber only got an A-, and she's been the English whiz kid since forever." Speaking of Amber, she appeared around the corner, her curly hair bouncing with each step. "There you are," she said, linking arms with Zoe. "You're coming to debate team tryouts after school, right? You promised." Zoe nodded. She'd never done debate before, but Amber had been begging her to join for days. "I said I would, didn't I? Though I still think you're crazy for thinking I'd be any good at it." "Trust me," Amber said. "The way you broke down the symbolism in class yesterday, you're a natural. Plus, we need people who can think on their feet." As They walked toward the cafeteria. Zoe spotted Vanessa and her friends huddled near the water fountain. Over the past weeks, she'd noticed Vanessa watching her, sometimes whispering to her followers while looking in Zoe's direction. She'd done her best to stay out of Vanessa's way. But today, instead of ignoring Zoe like usual, Vanessa stepped directly into their path. "Hey, new girl," Vanessa said, her voice sweet in a way that didn't match her eyes. "I've been meaning to ask, why don't you ever talk about your family? Everyone's wondering." Zoe's stomach tightened. This was exactly the kind of situation her parents had warned her about. "Nothing to talk about," Zoe shrugged, trying to keep her voice casual. "Just a regular family." Vanessa hummed, studying Zoe's face. "That's weird, because Tiffany saw you get into a pretty fancy car last week. Black tinted windows looked like it had a driver. Not exactly regular family stuff." Dion stepped slightly in front of Zoe. "What's with the interrogation, Vanessa? If you're this desperate for conversation topics, maybe try watching the news." Vanessa's smile disappeared. "Nobody asked you, Dion. I'm just making friendly conversation with our mysterious new classmate." "Come on," Amber muttered, pulling Zoe around Vanessa. "She's not worth it." As they walked away, Zoe heard Vanessa call after them. "By the way, love the bag, Zoe. Is it real leather? Must have cost a fortune on your mom's behind-the-scenes salary." In the cafeteria, Zoe pushed her food around her plate, her appetite gone. "Don't let her get to you," Amber said, unwrapping her sandwich. "Vanessa does this to everyone. Last year, she spent a whole month trying to convince people that I cheated on tests because I got better grades than her." "Yeah, but..." Zoe hesitated, knowing she couldn't explain the real reason for her worry. If Vanessa kept digging, she might actually find something. "I just don't get why she's so focused on me." "Because you're smart, pretty, and people like you without you having to buy. Their friendship," Dion said matter-of-factly, then immediately looked embarrassed at his own words. "I mean, you're cool without trying too hard." Zoe smiled, grateful for her friends. "Thanks, guys." That afternoon at debate team tryouts, Zoe surprised herself. When asked to argue whether social media helped or hurt teenage social development, the words flowed naturally. She drew on examples, countered opposing points, and even made the teacher running the tryouts laugh with a clever comparison. "Well, that settles it," Mr. Finch said when Zoe finished. "You're definitely on the team. We could use that kind of quick thinking at regionals next month." Amber bounced up and down, clapping her hands. "See? I told you. You're going to help us crush Lakeside Prep this year." As they left the classroom, still buzzing from the successful tryout, they nearly bumped into Vanessa and two of her friends, lurking in the hallway. "Debate team. Really?" Vanessa rolled her eyes. "Isn't that a bit beneath you? I'd have thought someone who wears $60 lip gloss would have higher ambitions." Zoe froze. She did have expensive lip gloss, a birthday gift from her mom that she'd forgotten was designer. She'd been using it without thinking. "How would you know how much her lip gloss costs?" Amber shot back. "Been going through her bag when she's not looking?" "It's called having taste," Vanessa sneered. "Something you wouldn't understand with those dollar store clothes." "Back off, Vanessa," Dion warned. "Or what?" Vanessa raised an eyebrow, then turned her attention back to Zoe. "You know what's interesting? I can't find anything about you online. It's like you didn't exist before you came here. No Instagram, no TikTok, nothing. Who doesn't have social media these days?" "Some people just like their privacy," Zoe said, her heart beating faster. She didn't have public accounts because her parents had always worried about her security. Privacy or secrets? Vanessa stepped closer. "What are you hiding, Zoe Jenkins?" "Nothing," Zoe said firmly. "And I'm not sure why you care so much." "I don't." Vanessa laughed, but her eyes told a different story. "Just finding it hard to believe anyone is as perfect as you pretend to be." Later that evening, Zoe sat cross-legged on her bed, video chatting with her mom, who was on a film set. Across the country. "How's school going, baby?" her mom asked, her famous face tired but smiling on the screen. "Mostly good," Zoe said, trying to sound more confident than she felt. I made the debate team today. That's wonderful. Your father will be so proud. He always says you got his gift for making an argument. Her mom laughed. Is everything else okay? You have that look. Zoe sighed. Her mom could always tell when something was bothering her. There's this girl, Vanessa. She's kind of the queen bee at school, and she's been asking a lot of questions about our family. Her mom's smile faded. What kind of questions? About why we moved here, about our money. She noticed my car has a driver, and today she recognized my lip gloss was expensive. Do you think she knows who we are? The worry in her mom's voice made Zoe feel guilty. No, I don't think so. She's just suspicious because I don't talk much about myself. But Mom, if she keeps digging, maybe this wasn't a good idea after all, her mom sighed. Your father and I just want you to be safe. Please don't make me leave, Zoe pleaded. I've made real friends here. For the first time, people like me for me. I'm careful, I promise. After a moment, her mom nodded. All right, but the minute you feel uncomfortable, you tell us, okay? There's no shame in coming back to your old school. I know, Mom. Thank you. After ending the call, Zoe flopped back on her bed, staring at the ceiling. She knew her mom was right to worry. If people at school found out who her parents were, everything would change. Amber and Dion might feel betrayed that she'd kept such a big secret. Other kids would suddenly want to be her friend for the wrong reasons, and Vanessa would either try to use the connection or make Zoe's life even more difficult out of jealousy. The next morning, Zoe arrived at school to find a buzz of excitement. Signs posted around the hallway announced the upcoming academic bowl competition, and beside them was a list of students selected to represent each grade. Zoe nearly tripped when she saw her own name listed as the sophomore representative. Congratulations, Mr. Peterson said, passing by with a stack of papers. Your essay scores and class participation made you an obvious choice. The selection committee voted unanimously. Thank you, Zoe stammered, surprised and pleased. She didn't notice Vanessa standing at her locker, watching with narrowed eyes as teachers and students stopped to congratulate Zoe. She didn't see the way Vanessa's hands clenched at her sides, or the dark look that crossed her face. But she would find out that afternoon, when she returned to the classroom to find her carefully prepared project presentation soaked with red liquid, the paper dissolving into a soggy mess. Oh no, came Vanessa's voice from the doorway, fake concern dripping from every word. Did someone spill cranberry juice all over your work? What a shame. Accidents happen, I guess. Zoe stared at her ruined project, the red cranberry juice seeping through the pages she'd spent hours perfecting. For a moment, she couldn't even speak. Oops, Vanessa said from the doorway, not even trying to hide her smirk. Clumsy me. Taking a deep breath, Zoe carefully picked up what remained of her project. The paper was soggy, the ink running in pink streaks down the pages. Her hands were steady, but inside she felt a storm building. It's fine, Zoe said quietly. I have backup files on my computer. I can print it again. Vanessa's smile faltered. You're not upset? Why would I be? Zoe met her gaze. It's just paper. Nothing important was lost. She walked past Vanessa, head held high, though her heart was pounding. Only when she reached the girls' bathroom did she let herself feel the anger that was bubbling inside. She tossed the ruined papers in the trash and splashed cold water on her face. Don't let her see you cry, she whispered to her reflection. That's what she wants. The bathroom door swung open, and Amber rushed in. Dion told me what happened. That witch. We should tell Principal Garcia. Zoe shook her head. No proof it was her. And anyway, getting adults involved will just make it worse. So what's your plan? Just let her keep messing with you? No, Zoe said, a small smile forming. My plan is to not give her the satisfaction. I'll redo the project tonight, make it even better than before, and act like it never happened. Amber looked impressed. That might actually bother her more than anything else. That evening, Zoe stayed up late recreating her project. When she handed it in the next day, Her teacher was impressed by the improvements she'd made. Even better was the look on Vanessa's face when she realized her sabotage had only made Zoe's work stronger. For the next few weeks, Vanessa's attempts to get under Zoe's skin continued. A spilled drink here, a misplaced textbook there, whispers that stopped whenever Zoe walked by. But each time Zoe refused to show any reaction beyond calm acceptance, which only seemed to frustrate Vanessa more. Then came the announcement of the spring formal. "You have to go," Amber insisted as they sat in the cafeteria, looking at the poster. "It's like the biggest night of the spring semester." "I don't know." Zoe hesitated. Big school events meant pictures, social media posts, exactly the kind of exposure her parents had warned against. "Come on," Dion joined in. "It'll be fun. The whole debate team is going." Zoe thought about it. She'd been at Westlake for almost 3 months now, and no one had discovered her secret. Maybe she was being too cautious. "All right," she finally agreed. "But nothing fancy, okay? Just a simple dress, no big deal." Amber squealed with delight. "We're going dress shopping this weekend, no arguments." That Friday after school, Zoe called her mom. "Is it okay if I go to the spring formal?" There was a pause on the other end. "A school dance? Will there be photos?" "Probably, but I'll be careful. I won't be in any group pictures that might get posted online." Her mom sighed. "You know what? Yes. You should go and have fun. In fact," her voice brightened, "why don't I help you find a dress? I'll have a few sent over this weekend." "Mom, no, nothing flashy, remember? I'm supposed to blend in." "Trust me, baby, I know exactly what you need." True to her word, her mother had several dresses delivered. Most were too glamorous for a high school dance, but one caught Zoe's eye. An emerald green dress with delicate beadwork that caught the light. It was elegant without being over the top, the kind of dress that would stand out for its taste rather than its price tag. "This one," Zoe told her mom over video chat, holding it up. "It feels right." Her mom smiled. "I knew you'd pick that one. It reminds me of the dress I wore to my high school prom, before all the fame and red carpets." The night of the spring formal arrived, and Zoe took extra care getting ready. She kept her accessories minimal, small earrings, a simple bracelet, and wore her hair in loose curls that framed her face. Looking in the mirror, she hardly recognized herself. The green dress fit perfectly, making her feel beautiful and confident. "One picture," her mom insisted before Zoe left. "Just for us." Zoe posed by the staircase, the dress shimmering under the light. For a moment, she felt like the daughter of Hollywood royalty that she was. But tonight, no one would know except her. Amber was waiting outside school, wearing a bright blue dress that matched her energetic personality. Her jaw dropped when she saw Zoe. "Oh my gosh, you look amazing. That color is perfect on you." "Thanks." Zoe smiled, suddenly shy. "You look great too." Inside, the gymnasium had been transformed with twinkling lights, silver and blue decorations, and a DJ booth at one end. Students were already dancing or clustered in groups around the punch table. "Zoe!" Dion called out, waving from near the refreshments. He was wearing a navy blue suit that made him look older and more serious than usual. "Wow, you both look awesome." As the night went on, Zoe found herself relaxing and enjoying the dance. She laughed with her friends, danced to upbeat songs, and even answered questions from a few teachers who stopped to compliment her dress. "Miss Jenkins," Mr. Peterson said, "that color is spectacular on you. Very sophisticated choice." "Thank you," Zoe replied, pleased by the compliment. "My mom helped me pick it out." She didn't notice Vanessa watching from across the room, or see the way her eyes narrowed at each person who stopped to talk to Zoe. Vanessa herself was wearing a designer dress that had cost more than some used cars, yet she wasn't receiving nearly as much attention as the new girl. An hour into the dance, as Zoe stood by the punch bowl taking a break from dancing, she finally spotted Vanessa approaching. The girl was wearing a tight-fitting pink dress with a plunging neckline that pushed the boundaries of the school dress code, and her makeup was flawless. "Well, well," Vanessa said, looking Zoe up and down. "Don't you clean up nice?" "Thanks," Zoe said cautiously. "You look nice too." Cute dress. Vanessa reached out and fingered the fabric. Is it a hand-me-down? Zoe stepped back, uncomfortable with Vanessa touching her dress. No, actually. Oh? Where'd you get it then? It looks expensive for someone whose mom works behind the scenes. Vanessa made air quotes with her fingers. My mom helped me pick it out, Zoe repeated, trying to keep her voice neutral. Oh, how sweet. Vanessa's voice dripped with sarcasm. Does she work as a maid or something? Must have saved up a lot to afford something like this. Several students nearby had stopped talking to listen. Zoe felt her cheeks getting warm, but she kept her composure. Excuse me, she said, trying to step around Vanessa. My friends are waiting. Vanessa grabbed her arm, her manicured nails digging in slightly. I'm talking to you. Don't you have any manners? Please let go of my arm, Zoe said calmly, though her heart was racing. Or what? Vanessa challenged. And then it happened. Her hand moved from Zoe's arm to the fabric of her dress. With one quick, deliberate movement, she grabbed the delicate material and pulled. The sound of tearing cloth seemed to echo even over the music. A collective gasp went up from the students standing nearby. Zoe stood frozen, feeling the cool air, on her side where the dress had torn from the seam all the way down to her hip. For a terrible moment, no one moved or spoke. Then phone cameras began to flash as someone captured the moment. Oops, Vanessa said with fake innocence. Guess your dress wasn't as expensive as it looked. Good quality doesn't rip that easily. Tears welled in Zoe's eyes as she clutched the torn fabric, trying to hold it together. The beautiful dress her mother had chosen was ruined, and everyone was staring. Amber rushed over, quickly taking off her shawl and wrapping it around Zoe's waist to cover the tear. What is wrong with you? She shouted at Vanessa. Dion pushed through the crowd. Someone get a teacher, he called out, putting a protective arm around Zoe's shoulders. But it was too late to contain the damage. Zoe could see phones out everywhere, recording her humiliation. By tomorrow, it would be all over the school's social media. Let's get you out of here, Amber whispered, guiding Zoe toward the exit. As they walked away, Zoe heard Vanessa's laugh behind them. Better luck next time. New girl. What no one realized, not Vanessa, not the students taking videos, not even Zoe herself, was that one of those videos was about to travel much further than the halls of Westlake Academy. By morning, what had started as typical high school drama would unexpectedly explode into something none of them could have predicted. Zoe woke up the next morning with puffy eyes and a heavy heart. She'd cried herself to sleep, the image of Vanessa's smirk as she tore the dress playing over and over in her mind. The beautiful green dress now hung in her closet. The tear, a jagged reminder of her humiliation. Her phone buzzed with texts from Amber and Dion checking if she was okay. She appreciated their concern but couldn't bring herself to reply yet. What could she even say? That she was fine? That would be a lie. When her phone rang, she almost ignored it, until she saw it was her mom calling. Hey, Mom, she answered, trying to sound normal. Baby girl, what happened last night? Her mom's voice was tight with worry. You came home early and went straight to your room. Your driver said you were upset. Zoe took a deep breath. It was nothing, just girl drama. Zoe, Jenkins, I've known you your entire life. Nothing doesn't make you cry. Was it that Vanessa girl again? Before Zoe could answer, another call beeped through. It was Amber. Mom, can I call you back? Amber's calling and it might be important. All right, but we're talking about this later. Zoe switched calls. Hey, Amber. Zoe. Oh my God, have you seen it? Amber sounded breathless. Seen what? The video. It's everywhere. I mean everywhere. Zoe's stomach dropped. What video? From last night. Someone posted the video of Vanessa ripping your dress and it went viral. Like not just school viral, internet viral. Zoe sat up straight, her heart pounding. What? No, that's not possible. I'm sending you the link right now. It's already got hundreds of thousands of views. People are going crazy in the comments. Seconds later, Zoe's phone pinged with the link. With trembling fingers, she opened it. There it was. the moment captured from multiple angles. Vanessa grabbing her dress, the fabric tearing, Zoe's shocked face as she tried to hold the pieces together. The video had been edited to show the incident in slow motion with dramatic music added for effect, but it was the headline above the video that made her blood run cold. Breaking. Daughter of Will Smith's wife bullied at public high school. Dress destroyed by classmate. No, 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 Zoe whispered, scrolling frantically through the comments. People were outraged, calling Vanessa horrible names, saying they were going to contact her parents, the school, everyone. And worse, they knew who Zoe was. Someone had recognized her face, made the connection to her famous parents, and now her carefully guarded secret was out for the world to see. Amber, she said, her voice shaking. I have to go. Wait, are you okay? Do you want me to come over? Where do you... Zoe ended the call and immediately dialed her mom. Mom, she said as soon as her mother answered. We have a problem, a big problem. Within minutes, Zoe's phone was blowing up with notifications. Friends from her old school texting to ask if it was really her in the video. Random people trying to follow her private social media accounts. Even a few reporters somehow finding her number and calling. She turned off her phone and curled up on her bed, hugging her knees. This was her worst nightmare. All she'd wanted was to be normal, to have friends who liked her for herself, not for her famous family. Now that was ruined forever. Her bedroom door opened, and her mom rushed in, still in her pajamas, hair uncombed, a far cry from the polished image she presented to the world. I saw it, her mom said, sitting on the bed and pulling Zoe into a hug. Your father's on the phone with our publicist right now. I'm sorry, Zoe whispered. I should have just gone to private school like you wanted. Her mom held her tighter. No, baby. This isn't your fault. That girl had no right to put her hands on you or your property. She pulled back to look Zoe in the eyes. But I need you to tell me everything now. Has this been going on for a while? Slowly, Zoe told her mother everything. Vanessa's suspicions from the beginning, the little acts of sabotage, the escalating tension, all leading up to last night's humiliation. As she talked, she could see her mom's expression change from concern to controlled anger. Anyone who knew her mom's movies would recognize the look. It was the one she wore right before her character took down the bad guys. All right, her mom said when Zoe finished. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to the school on Monday morning. Not just me, your father and I together. Mom, no, that'll just make everything worse. Let me finish. We're going to handle this properly through the right channels. This Vanessa girl and her parents need to understand that actions have consequences. Zoe could tell from her mother's tone that there was no arguing. When her parents set their minds to something, especially when it involved protecting their child, nothing could stop them. By Monday morning, the situation had exploded beyond anything Zoe could have imagined. News vans lined the street outside Westlake Academy. Students arriving for school had to push past reporters shouting questions. Inside, the hallways buzzed with excited whispers as kids shared the latest updates on their phones. They're saying, her mom might show up today. I heard Vanessa's parents are trying to transfer her to another school. Can you believe we've had a celebrity's kid here all this time and nobody knew? Zoe sat in the principal's office, staring at her hands while Principal Garcia spoke nervously on the phone. The woman kept glancing at Zoe as if she couldn't believe who was sitting in her office or who was about to arrive. At precisely 9:15 a.m., the school's front doors opened and a wave of whispers spread through the building. Zoe's parents had arrived. They walked with purpose, ignoring the stares and gasps, heading straight for the principal's office. Despite the early hour, they were dressed impeccably, her father in a tailored suit that made him look even taller, her mother in a cream-colored outfit that radiated elegance and power. When they entered the office, Zoe stood up, suddenly feeling very small. Mom, Dad, Her father cut her off by pulling her into a tight hug. Are you okay, sunshine? He whispered, his deep voice filled with concern. Zoe nodded against his chest, tears threatening again. Her mother joined the hug, creating a protective circle around her. Principal Garcia cleared her throat. Mr. and Mrs., I'm so honored to have you both here. I want to assure you that Westlake Academy takes bullying very seriously. With all due respect, Zoe's mother interrupted, her voice calm but firm. My daughter asked for one thing when she came to your school, to be treated like a normal student. We respected her wishes for privacy. But when I see a video of my child being publicly humiliated, her property destroyed, normal is no longer an option. The principal swallowed hard. Of course, we've already contacted Vanessa Miller's parents. They should be arriving shortly for a meeting. Good, Zoe's father said, his expression serious. Because we have a lot to discuss. As if on cue, the office door opened again, and Vanessa walked in with her parents. The girl was pale, nothing like the confident bully who had tormented Zoe for months. When she saw who was waiting in the office, her eyes widened in shock. Mr. and Mrs. Miller, Principal Garcia said, I believe you know why we're here, but you may not know who we're meeting with. She gestured to Zoe's parents. These are Zoe's parents. Vanessa's mother gasped, suddenly recognizing the famous faces before her. Her father looked like he might faint. We had no idea. Mrs. Miller stammered. Vanessa never told us. That's because Vanessa didn't know. Zoe spoke up, finding her voice at last. Nobody did. That was the whole point. Vanessa stared at Zoe, then at her parents, the reality of what she'd done finally sinking in. She had bullied the daughter of two of the most powerful people in Hollywood, and now the whole world knew about it. The silence in the room was deafening, broken only when Zoe's mother stepped forward, her eyes locked on Vanessa. Now, she said, her voice quiet but intense, we're going to talk about consequences. The principal's office felt too small for the tension filling it. Vanessa stood frozen, her face pale as she stared at Zoe's parents, two of the most recognizable celebrities in the world. Her own parents looked equally shocked, Mrs. Miller, clutching her designer purse so tightly her knuckles were white. Please, everyone take a seat, Principal Garcia said, gesturing to the chairs arranged in a circle. Her voice trembled slightly. It wasn't every day Hollywood royalty showed up in her office. Once everyone was seated, an uncomfortable silence fell over the room. Zoe stared at the floor, unable to look at Vanessa or her parents. I think we should begin with an explanation of what happened, Zoe's father said, his deep voice calm but serious. From what our daughter has told us, this wasn't an isolated incident. Principal Garcia nodded. We have the video from Friday night, but Zoe has informed me about other incidents that occurred prior to that. Incidents? Mr. Miller frowned, turning to look at his daughter. Vanessa? What is she talking about? Vanessa squirmed in her seat. It was just stupid high school stuff. Everyone does it. No, Zoe spoke up, raising her head. Everyone doesn't do it. Everyone doesn't destroy someone's project with cranberry juice. Everyone doesn't spread rumors or try to make someone feel like they don't belong. You did that? Mrs. Miller asked, horror spreading across her face. Vanessa, we raised you better than that. I didn't know who she was, Vanessa blurted out, tears forming in her eyes. I didn't know her parents were famous. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees as Zoe's mother leaned forward. And that makes a difference? She asked, her voice dangerously quiet. It would have been acceptable to treat anyone else that way? To destroy someone's property because you felt threatened by them? Vanessa had no answer, her gaze dropping to her hands. This behavior is completely unacceptable, Principal Garcia said firmly. Westlake Academy has a zero-tolerance policy for bullying. Given the severity and the continuing nature of these incidents, I'm recommending immediate suspension. For how long? Mr. Miller asked, looking mortified. 2 weeks minimum, with the possibility of further disciplinary action up to and including expulsion, depending on the outcome of our full investigation. Vanessa's head snapped up. Expulsion? But colleges look at that. It could ruin my future. You should have thought about that before you decided to bully another student, Principal Garcia replied. Zoe looked at Vanessa, really looked at her for the first time that day. Behind the makeup and expensive clothes, she just seemed like A scared teenager now, not the untouchable queen bee who had made her life miserable for months. "I don't want her expelled," Zoe said suddenly. Everyone turned to stare at her. "What?" Her father looked confused. "Suspension, yes, she should face consequences, but expulsion won't teach her anything." Zoe's mother studied her daughter's face, then slowly nodded. Zoe might be right. Punishment alone doesn't teach empathy. She turned to face the Millers. "We have a foundation that works with underprivileged girls to build confidence and self-worth. Many of them have faced bullying, poverty, and worse. Vanessa will volunteer there twice weekly for the remainder of the school year." Mr. Miller nodded quickly, relief washing over his face. "Yes, of course, that sounds like an excellent idea. Doesn't it, Vanessa?" Vanessa looked like she wanted to argue but knew better. "Yes," she mumbled. "In addition," Zoe's father added, "there will be a public apology and Vanessa will personally pay to replace the dress she destroyed." "Absolutely," Mrs. Miller agreed. "We'll handle everything. And may I just say how sorry we are about all of this. We had no idea Vanessa was behaving this way." "And what about the media?" Mr. Miller asked nervously. "This is already all over the internet. Our family name—" "Your family name?" Zoe's mother raised an eyebrow. "Your concern right now is your reputation?" Mr. Miller flushed. "I didn't mean our publicist will handle the media," Zoe's father interrupted. "The story will be that two teenagers had a disagreement that has since been resolved privately. No names except ours will be mentioned." The relief on the Millers' faces was almost comical. "But," he continued, his expression hardening, "if anything like this happens again, if Vanessa so much as looks at Zoe the wrong way, we won't be so understanding, are we clear?" The Millers nodded quickly. As the meeting wrapped up, Vanessa finally spoke directly to Zoe. "I didn't know," she said quietly. "That's the point," Zoe replied. "You never bothered to know me at all." The next few weeks were a strange adjustment for Zoe. Going back to school after the video went viral was like starting over again, but this time, everyone knew exactly who she was. Some kids tried to suddenly become her friend, asking for selfies or autographs from her parents. Others avoided her completely, intimidated by her family's fame. A few, including Amber and Dion, treated her the same as always. "I get why you didn't tell us," Amber said when they finally talked about it. "I probably wouldn't have believed you anyway." "Are you mad?" Zoe asked. "Nah," Dion shrugged. "You're still the same Zoe who helped me pass English, just with cooler parents." Their acceptance meant everything to Zoe. She hadn't lost the real friends she'd made even though her secret was out. Meanwhile, Vanessa began her twice-weekly sessions at the foundation. At first, she showed up with a scowl, doing the minimum required. But after a few weeks, something unexpected happened. The girls at the center didn't care about her family's money or her status at school. To them, she was just another volunteer. Some were suspicious of her at first, but others welcomed her help with homework or crafts. One afternoon, Zoe's mother stopped by the center to check on the program and found Vanessa sitting in a circle, with 5 young girls teaching them how to make friendship bracelets. "They don't have art class at their school," Vanessa explained when she noticed Zoe's mom watching. "I thought this might be something fun they could do." Zoe's mother nodded, surprised but pleased. "That's thoughtful of you." As the school year came to a close, things had settled into a new normal. The media had moved on to fresher scandals, and most students had gotten used to having a celebrity's daughter in their midst. Zoe still missed the anonymity she'd briefly enjoyed, but she'd learned something valuable too. That true friends would stand by her regardless of who her parents were. On the last day of the foundation program, Vanessa approached Zoe in the hallway at school. They hadn't spoken directly in weeks, though they'd seen each other from a distance. "Here," Vanessa said, holding out a small gift bag. "I wanted to give you this." Zoe hesitated before taking it. Inside was a handmade bracelet, similar to the ones Vanessa had been teaching the girls to make, but more intricate, with green and gold threads woven together. "The green matches your dress," Vanessa said awkwardly. "The one you know." "Thank you," Zoe said, genuinely surprised. "It's beautiful," I'm sorry, Vanessa blurted out. Not just because I have to be or because your parents could probably end my family's entire existence. I'm actually sorry. Working at the center, it changed how I see things. Zoe studied her, face looking for any sign of insincerity but found none. There's this girl there, Lily, Vanessa continued. She's 8 and basically raising her little brother because their mom works 3 jobs. And she told me I'm not as mean as I look. A small smile appeared on her face. She said, I think you're actually nice inside. Can you believe that? Zoe slowly slipped the bracelet onto her wrist. Maybe she saw something the rest of us missed. They weren't friends, probably never would be. But something had shifted. Sometimes the harshest lessons led to the most important growth. As Zoe walked away, she caught sight of Amber and Dion waiting for her by the cafeteria doors. They waved excitedly, calling her over to discuss their summer plans. Fame, secrets, bullying. None of it had changed what mattered most. Finding people who saw her for who she really was, not the daughter of celebrities or the girl from the viral video, but just Zoe. And in the end, that was all she'd wanted from the beginning.